How's it going, guys? TG here, and today, or I guess I should say tonight, as you can see here, we got the reveal of the next event for Girls Frontline 2. The official Twitter posted Daiyan. She is the character from the very first event Girls Frontline 2 had over on CN servers. The event was rewritten due to some controversy. It's unknown as of now if we're getting the original event or the rewritten version, but yeah, we're getting the event finally as our third event. If you want a TLDR of Daiyan, she is the highest movement unit in the game, even to this day on CN. She can get up to like 16 tiles. Her gameplay revolves around building up stacks of a buff that increases both her crit rate and her crit damage equally. And she can expend those buffs or those stacks to get her ult up faster. Specifically, one stack reduces her ult's cost by one turn upon using her ult, meaning she can ult multiple times, though it should be noted her ult does remove all stacks. So, bit of a limit there. If you like to wail, though, very good wailing. If you can get her to V3, she can basically ult every single turn once she gets going. Only real downside is she is unfortunately a physical unit. She's a Vanguard, so she's not as strong as our Sentinels. And it does take her a little bit to get going up. I'll explain in a little bit. But until she gets her stacks up and going, she's not the best, but once she does, she's pretty flippin' strong. If you want the specifics, here you go. She is a Vanguard physical. Her unique effect is Calibration, which increases her crit and crit damage by 3%, stacking up to 10 times. If she has any stacks at all, she also gains 6 tiles of extra movement after attacking. She also has another unique buff, Tuning, that increases the stability damage of the next attack used based on the number of calibration stacks. She has a pretty basic attack, hit something within 6 tiles, 80% attack. Basically every unit in the game has this as their standard attack. 1 stability, not the greatest. Skill 1, 2 stability damage, costs 1 gauge. Same range as her normal, which I will say her other attacking skill, her ult, has the same range, so I'm not going to mention that again. But her skill 1, 150% attack, that's pretty solid. And it also dispels a buff from the target. So, another way to dispel. Skill 2 is a buff. It consumes 4 gauge, but gives her 3 layers of calibration, as well as tuning, and extra command. So, for 5 gauge, you get not a lot of stability damage, only 3, but you also get an absolute buttload of damage. So that's pretty good. Her ultimate, same range again, a buttload of damage. That's a really good multiplier. For each layer of calibration, it reduces the cooldown of the ult by 1 turn, but it will consume all stacks. So as long as you have 6 stacks of calibration, your ultimate immediately comes back up. However, another effect is you gain 1 permanent stack of calibration up to 3 times, and if you can get her to V3, that goes up to 6 stacks, meaning she can potentially ult every single turn. And if you have enough gauge, you can also get tuning for it. So as you can see, it's pretty good. A big combo as well is just tuning straight into ult. As long as you have 3 stacks, skill 2 into ult lets you ult 2 turns in a row, which is very powerful. Her passive, pretty wordy. Basically, she gains gauge and calibration, 1 stack of each, at the start of her turn. If she hits a target that's not undercover, she gains another gauge point. And as long as she has 2 calibration stacks, she also gains an ambush, which means she can hit an enemy that attacks her. It does pretty solid damage, same damage as the skill 1, 4 stability damage, and gains a layer of permanent calibration. And if you have 4 or more stacks of calibration, it does extra damage. So that is very powerful. The only downside is it's only 1 turn. Her vertebrae, I'll just slowly scroll through these so you can look at them. As a free-to-play, I'm not too concerned. However, as I said, her V3, which gives her up to 6 stacks of permanent calibration. Lets her ult every single turn without fail. However, you do need to build up those stacks. V6 is another huge breakpoint, as every time she kills an enemy with her ult, she gains another stack, meaning potentially within 3 ult uses, you have permanent ult. In terms of her keys, most notable ones are her 1, 4, and 5. 2 also gets used. Everyone gets the +3 gauge. A lot of people like them. Fixed key 1 gives her extra movement, 1 extra tile of movement whenever she has any stance of calibration. So basically permanent speed buff. Key 4 gives her an extra layer of calibration when she attacks an enemy if her movement speed is higher, which if you're using fixed key 1, odds are she's going to have 10 movement speed. That's more than a lot of enemies, so that's really good. 5 makes it so that her skill 1 can dispel an additional buff for every 3 layers, so potentially 4 debuff dispels. However, this one's a little bit more niche and doesn't see quite as much use. Her common key as well also gives a movement increase 1 for 1 turn at the start of her action. So she has, as you can see, she just has movement. That's her main gimmick, is decent crit, boatloads of movement, and if you invest heavily into her and are a little bit patient, she actually has very solid burst. Only real downside, once again, she needs to build up, and she's physical, so she doesn't really combo too well with a lot of the meta that will be coming over time. If you're looking at attachments, physical boost, pretty good. You can use Phase Strike, just note she cannot activate Phase Strike by herself. She needs allies to put, my brain is not braining, it's 11:30 at night, I apologize. But she needs enemy allies to debuff enemies with elemental debuffs to be able to activate Phase Strike, and it's not as strong. So if you can afford to go for physical boost, go for it if you get her, but otherwise, you can stick with Phase Strike. Just note that she will not be performing optimally, and you will need help. Weapon-wise, great news if you can't get her signature weapon, like me with the last 2 fucking characters. You actually have pretty solid free-to-play options. Her weapon's unique effect is that whoever is holding it gains extra damage based on extra movement points. But if you can't get this, if you have a Planeta or a Golden Melody, most likely a Planeta, as Talolo will eventually start falling off until we get Springfield. If you can get Planeta on her, pretty good if you don't have QJ but you have Golden Melody. Here you go. She also combos really well with QJ, as her ambush does activate QJ's support. So that's really good. And if you can get her signature weapon, this thing, if you can get it max dupe, very good, gives her another dispel even without. You gain bonus damage just from moving, and you also get bonus crit damage against enemies out of cover. Since she will basically always have at least some extra crit rate, pretty good, but once again, if you can't get it, Planeta, Golden Melody, both very good. Otherwise, I'm going to guess probably the QBZ would be her next best. Obviously, they don't show it on here. If you want to see a little bit more details, especially once she releases, I will link this and Pridwin down in the description. If you know Pridwin from Star Rail, they do cover Girls Frontline 2. Pretty good from what I've seen. I believe the people who helped make this spreadsheet also helped Pridwin set up. So, yeah, Daiyan is coming soon. Once Macchiato leaves, we get her. It'll be good. It'll be really good. So, thank you for watching. Sorry for the rambling. Well, like I said before, it is very late at night as I'm recording this. I apologize. I am not re-recording this, but hopefully this video was helpful. If so, a like would be appreciated. Subscribe if you want more Girls Frontline 2. I also do Arc Knights, Monster Hunter, Final Fantasy, bunch of other stuff. If you like RPGs, basically, I cover it. But, yeah, Daiyan's coming. If you want to save for her, save. If you don't, I can't tell you what the hell to do with the gacha currency. But thank you for watching, and good day, good night, good time zone.